credit's due to the lad because he has looked, in my opinion, very good in pre-season. I still think we're short up there. It doesn't change my opinion on that, but it does change my opinion slightly on perhaps how he's progressing as a footballer. That, Lee Judges, is my sum up for pre-season. You're probably going to tell me you're completely wrong and everything I've said is nonsense, but I only saw the highlights. I didn't see the full games like you did, mate. So what did you make of the pre-season to date, mate?
No, I think, considering you ain't watched it, you summed it up really, really well. First and foremost, first thing, I don't know if you remember, we was talking about this the other day. We played Hearts Rangers, lost in the Emirates Cup last season. We was all saying that the pre-season, do you remember we was like going, oh, those results, and people going, oh, don't worry, it's only pre-season, it's only pre-season. And look what happened. This turnaround, we've looked a lot more solid, look more better. And I've got a lot more confidence going into this season than I did last season. And I do think that, I know it's only pre-season, but I do think that it helps. And that's the way I think you need to go in there with a lot of confidence. Let's first of all talk about Saliba. I watched him in the game against Everton. I was impressed. Dan, I'm going to say this now, even more impressed when I've seen him live. You know what I mean? He's a machine. He just glides across the park. What I liked about him is when there was something for him to defend, he just thinks, right, this is my moment. I can defend. Weren't panicking, weren't going into just comes across, defends it well. Looked really, really good. I know it's only pre-season, but Chelsea are in the same position as us going into the season, which 2 weeks away. I was very, very impressed with him. Jesus, let's talk about him for a second. When we signed Jesus, I'm going to say, I wasn't 100% sure, if I'll be honest, after what I'd seen at Man City. People turning around and saying, "Oh, if Man City had a striker, they'd win the league easy." And now all of a sudden we're pinning our hopes on him and whatever. After seeing him the first time in Germany, just come on and do what he's done. He was brilliant. I know again pre-season, but I don't know if I don't know if they showed you a chance, but Saka went through about 3 or 4 minutes before him. Martinelli put him through. Wasn't 100% sure. You thought, yeah, he might score, it might not. 50-50, When he went through for his goal, you knew he was going to score, Dan. I was celebrating before. I knew he was going to score. That's what we haven't had. Someone is a more clinical finisher, if he can stay fit and if he can carry on going as he is, I think he's a game-changing player for us. I really do. I think, I know that's putting pressure on him, but what I've seen of him, he just gives us something different to what we had last season. He just, there was a moment in the game where I can't remember what Chelsea player got injured because he was stretching for the ball, desperate to try to tackle him. He got the tackle in, but injured himself. When have you seen an Arsenal forward going through and a defender in desperation getting injured from and this is in a friendly. So I do bode that very, very well. I think that's really good, and I'm impressed with him immensely. So they're the two, one that we signed a couple of seasons ago, and this one they've definitely added to the strength of the team and made it a little bit better. With you on this about the first 11, it was evident in the games when one half was played with the sort of more of the first team players and the second half not, or the first half and the second half turned it around in the next game. The gap is considerable, and it is a worry for me. I've got to be really honest. Let's talk about that's all the pluses of it all. I thought we played some really, really good football. One thing that really impressed me against Chelsea game, Dan, is that from the first minute we was on the front foot and dominated from start to finish. This is no mugs Chelsea, by the way, but if we can do that to a team like Chelsea, we can do it to other teams in the Premier League. So from that point of view, I'm looking at it and thinking very, very good. Partey looked quite fit out there as well. Kieran Tierney's now back in training, which is a good thing. Ben White, people have been, I've seen a little bit online, criticising Ben White. No one's criticising Ben White. I turned around and I felt that Saliba should play. That doesn't mean to say I don't think Ben White should play, because I think at the moment he played right back in the game on Saturday, and straight away people are turning around and saying, Ben White's going to get roasted by Raheem Sterling, blah, 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 blah. No one got past him all night then. So maybe the right back position is something that they can look at him to play. I know it's not ideal, but if you're looking for something there, I don't think that's bad. Also, what that does give us is a lot more height in defending and also in an attacking point of view. So I think it. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be very. I wouldn't be shocked. We go Crystal Palace next Friday, and that's the same back. That is the back four that plays against Seville and also against Crystal Palace. So I wouldn't be surprised. So, and I think it makes Arteta's job slightly easier because he hasn't got to leave out one of them two. Like, you know, he can get them both in the team. Now, I turned around and said on an interview the other day, I said, you know, you don't buy a £50 million player and leave him out. And someone said, well, we do with Pepe. The difference between Pepe and Ben White is that Ben White was bought under the Arteta reign. And I think that that's the difference of it. I think if Pepe was bought under under Mikel Arteta, they'd be looking to find him a way of getting him in the team. That because he's not his player, that is why it's happening. So from that point of view, worries, they're highlighted in this transfer. They've highlighted in this tour, and we have a couple of weeks, I think, to sort it out. I don't think it's an issue at the moment going into the Crystal Palace if we went in there with Partey and Xhaka, but I agree with you. Behind that, Lokonga, I would bring in somebody and get Lokonga out on loan to a Premier League club because there is a player there, but he's not quite ready yet. Like, you know, and now if anything happens to Partey or Xhaka, and God forbid both, because it did happen to the last season, then we're in trouble. So I do think that we're going to have to strengthen there. The other position that I'm going to be slightly worried about is goalkeeper. I had no issues last season with Ramsdale and Leno in the two. I know that we're going to let Leno go. It's going to happen today, but the gap between Leno and Turner is big. So we've taken a big gamble if nothing happens to Ramsdale next season. Dan, I'm being serious, because if there's a long-term injury to Ramsdale, we're in trouble. So we are a couple of injuries away from being in trouble, but we have a couple of weeks to make those issues there. I would still say this now: if there's a goalkeeper on a free, I don't know, like someone like Ben Foster or someone like, you know, as a experienced backup, just to give us that little bit of experience. Why Turner's learning his trade? You know what I mean? Like, I'm worried about that. I'm going to say, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried about that. But ultimately, I said it now. You know, we're 2 or 3 players. If we can get them done in the transfer window, Dan, you know, and I'm not going overboard when I say this, I think we could be having a very, very good season, because Jesus is a game changer as far as I'm concerned. And Martinelli, by the way, that's the best I've seen him play for a very, very long while. And I mean that, but he was a constant threat. I've seen him play, I think he played against Orlando for 20 minutes, was breathtaking. And then he faded out of the game. But this game, he went a little bit longer. I also don't think you should question the heat and humidity out of there. It was very, very hot. And someone like Martin Odegaard, when you're seeing him live and the work rate he's doing, I know what you're saying about goals and assists, but his work rate in that heat and all that is incredible. Absolutely incredible. His fitness levels and his desire. If you're dead right what you say, if you can just add a few goals and assists, then Arsenal are going to have a good season.